Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here. I know it's been a while since I've been on here. Life has been keeping me quite busy. For those of you who are unaware, I had a complete meltdown on my flight simulator, and it literally took me a month and 5 reinstalls to get it working right. So finally got it working right. I'm actually in the background of this right now. There's a 747 flight going on in a national aircraft, which is actually just being recorded by FS Recorder so I can create the cinematics for the last video I actually did. So episode 3, I think it is, for The Life of a Virtual Cargo Pilot was actually recorded like 2 months ago, but I didn't get the cinematic shots because I'm a doofus, and then my sim went complete bonkers on me, and so I had to wait until it was up and running. But I did a test flight earlier with National. I did an MD-11 flight to South Korea from Alaska, and that's for a current mission they got going on, something I'm probably going to talk about during this video just a little bit. So anyway, that's going on in the background. Once that's done, between that video and this one, I should have a couple videos. You'll be seeing this one and that one right around the same time. Life of a Virtual Airline Pilot will be up and running again here pretty soon. Now, all that being said, I want to let you guys know that the videos aren't going to come quite as often, and on the one hand, I want to apologize for that, because obviously I know you guys look forward to them, but then on the other hand, I know that you are all aware that life has responsibilities, and I've got a pretty hefty load of them lately, and they're important. So I'm going to make sure that I'm dedicating time where it belongs, and that means that the Captain Mac channel is a little bit lower on the priority list. So bear with me. Eventually things will settle back down, and I'll get an opportunity to make more videos. I did fill in a few with some Life of a Virtual Truck Driver videos there. Seemed to get a lukewarm reception to that. I'll probably make some more of those in the future anyway, and I'm actually looking to make some Elite Dangerous videos. So if you guys like the idea of seeing some Elite Dangerous videos, throw some suggestions down there in the comments section, and we'll see what we can do with that. Okay, that being said, the purpose of this video is to talk about National Virtual Airlines website. And the reason I decided to go ahead and throw this together while I have that flight going in the background is I was looking in the forums for National. There's a few really cool things going on, and I want to hit on those during this video. But it seems like several of the new pilots coming on board are having some issues with the website. So that's what we're going to go over here. So let's just start going right across the top here. It's quite obvious. This is the home page. That's where we're at right now. This is what you get on the home page. So current flights that are in progress. The one that I have going right now is not on ACARS. Again, it's just for it's just redoing the flight that you're going to see for episode 3, but I'm doing it so that I can get the cinematic shots for you guys. You got some news on here. You can click on these. These are hyperlinked over here. Cuba is open. Asking you to join the forums and some other information over here. You can click on any of these to get news real quick, real easy. Fuel policy, that's one you definitely want to take a look at, especially if you struggle with fuel. I haven't done a in-depth fuel planning tutorial, so if that's something you guys would still like to see, let me know. Newest pilots listed right here. And NCR statistics. So there's a total of 75 pilots, 2,097 hours flown, 637 flights, total miles, and on it goes. So it's basic information. These are the last flights that were completed. You can see this one right here was actually me. This is me, NCR 242, and this is the MD-11 flight I did to South Korea, and that is for a current mission going on that we'll talk about when we get to that point. I'm going to try and keep this as quick as I can, because we all know I can get a little long-winded, so we'll just keep on moving here. Donate is pretty straightforward. You know what donate means. Information, you can get any information you need about the airline here as far as general info, what the airline's all about, the staff, who's on the pilot roster, what they have in their fleet, the CRAF program, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit, company awards, ranks, and partners, and there you go. Live map, this is a live map here, so you can click on it here and see just that, and so on. Application button, obviously, if you want to apply to National Virtual Airlines, and I'd highly recommend you do because they're a fantastic airline to fly with, then you can apply right here. Operations, Pilot Center, which we're going to go to here in a minute, download section, and a couple of the hubs listed there, and then of course the log out. You can also get to the Pilot Center with this button right here. If you just want to go straight into booking a flight, you can do so right here, and also keep in mind that you can book a flight through the ACARS system, and you can create a flight through the ACARS system as well. One of the great things about National Virtual Airlines is while their primary fleet is 747s, they have a few 757s and a couple of DC-8s, I believe it is. National's a charter. They're a charter airline. And so they, for example, the flight that I flew in the MD-11, that was in a World Cargo MD-11 that was leased by National. All right, so you can fly any aircraft you want with National Virtual Airlines. It's one of the things I really do like about them. PVA, you guys know I fly for PVA. They have a very structured and strict process, and I love that too. I like both sides of it, and so that's why both of them are great fits for me. It gives me the opportunity to go both ways, and I like that. But here at National, if you've got a PMDG 747, you can start flying it right out the door. If you'd rather fly your MD-11, you can do that as well. And eventually we're going to show you how to do all of that stuff. So, coming back over here, let's jump into information real quick. Let's see. We're not going to go through the About Us. You can read that on your own. Our staff and pilot roster. Let's take a look at the fleet real quick. So Boeing 747 BCF, which is a converted freighter, means it was a passenger aircraft converted to a freighter. That's their primary aircraft. They've got a Combi 757, which is both passenger and, well, it looks like they've got a Combi and passenger model. And then I was correct, the DC-8. So, and as you can see, these are pictures of real-world aircraft. This one looks like maybe an advertisement, but either way, these are the primary aircraft that are flown in the real-world National Cargo fleet, and they are the primary aircraft for National Virtual Airlines. Again, you can fly any aircraft you want for National Virtual. So if you've got your PMDG 737 NGX and you're like, man, I spent a lot of money on that, that's what I want to fly, there is a way to do that, so don't sweat it. CRAF program. Now, this is really cool. CRAF is the Civil Reserve Air Fleet, which is I'm just going to read it right here. It's a voluntary contractual program where U.S. civil air carriers agree to augment organic military airlift during a crisis in exchange for access to peacetime defense business, and so on. During peacetime, regional contingencies, and major exercises, CRAF carriers voluntarily contract to fulfill personnel and cargo movement requirements. In other words, what CRAF is where civilian airlines or civilian air carriers, civil air carriers, they contract with the United States Air Force. Now we're contracting at National Virtual Airlines, we contract with the virtual U.S. Air Force. So when they've got, and I've mentioned this before, when they've got some type of operation going on, and you can click here on the image to visit the virtual U.S. Air Force. When they've got an operation going on and they need cargo hauled or personnel hauled, for example, my flight to South Korea today was to move military personnel to South Korea, and I flew 408 personnel out there on an MD-11. Okay, and the way it works with the virtual U.S. Air Force is they actually contract with National and some other airlines to fly virtual cargo and passengers to where they need them, and they track that. So if they need a part for an aircraft or something like that, and none of the civil air carriers like National have delivered it, then they don't have access to it. Same thing for munitions, personnel, and so on. So if they need to airlift a bunch of personnel to South Korea like they're doing right now, they need virtual civil air carriers to actually fly those flights in order to have the personnel available to them there. So it's actually pretty cool. It's very interactive, and you can go to their website and see what kind of operations they got going on, and then of course those operations carry over to us when we get contracts. And right now, the contract that we're working on is to haul a certain number of personnel to South Korea. And so I did one flight. I'm hoping to get another one in. I did not record that flight. I don't record every flight I do with National like I do with PVA. PVA, I record every single flight I do with them on my Captain Mac profile. But Captain Mac is not the only profile that I have at PVA. I have a regular profile where I can just fly flights and I don't record those. Over here at National, I only have the one profile, so I do take some flights and fly them without recording them. So don't beat me up too bad, but it's fun to fly, and sometimes it's fun to just fly and not worry about recording the video, right? Okay, so that's what CRAF is, and National is really heavily involved with CRAF. We do a lot of business with them, and it's a lot of fun, and it adds a whole nother dimension to, flying for a virtual airline and a whole nother real world dimension. I think it's fantastic. So if you get an opportunity, come over and do the CRAF. Now, I'm going to pause here in a minute, and I want to hop over to the forums. The reason I'm going to pause is because I don't want to show everybody else's information on the forums. I just want to get to a single post, and I want to show that to you. So I'm going to pause the video real quick, and then I want to show you something on the forums, because this is really cool. Alright, so here we are on the National Cargo forums, and during the editing process I'm going to try and make it a point to just box this right here so you don't see everything else here, and that's alright. There's nothing there really to see, but I just want to make sure I keep it nice and clean. This is from David Walton. He is the president of National Cargo Virtual, and you can read it for yourself, but I'm going to go ahead and read it to you anyway because this is awesome. This is something that only National Virtual does as far as I know. I've never heard of this before. National Virtual Airlines is beginning on April 1st, 2016, which is just a few days ago. You can see, well, I can't see it, but you should be able to see the date right there. I think it's the 4th. What is it today, the 4th? Yeah, Monday, April 4th. So just a few days ago they started this. A new awards program for our virtual U.S. Air Force / CRAF flights. This means any pilot who accepts and successfully completes the flight or flights will be rewarded with a CRAF pilot pin, which is really cool. We all like to get our awards. Once a pilot completes 25 CRAF flights, and I believe this is within a month. I believe it's within a month. But it may just be maybe overall. But I would guess it's within a month. Once a pilot completes 25 CRAF flights with the money credit note in the contract, that means when you look at the flight contract, there should be a note in there that says that this is eligible for this money credit. They will be rewarded with $10 real world money. Yep, that's right. They're going to actually give you a legitimate real world $10 via PayPal for completing 25 CRAF flights. That's how serious National Virtual takes these CRAF flights. All right. Money credits, if available for that flight, will be located at the bottom of the email. There's usually an email that comes out and tells you what the latest CRAF contract is. And for example, the MD-11 flight that I did to South Korea, it was eligible. It said that it's good for 1 credit. It will say the following: this flight qualifies for money credits equal, and then money credits equals 1. So the 1 stands for 1 credit towards the 25 credits needed to submit them for the $10 via PayPal. And then if you have any questions, of course, you can email David, and he'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. That is astounding to me. All right? That is just absolutely astounding. Have you ever heard of a virtual airline that's going to actually legitimately pay you real money to fly for them? Could you imagine if National Virtual got enough in donations and enough pilots and stuff like that to pay you like legitimate salary? I know that's not going to happen, but I'm just saying, how cool would it be? You'd be like talking to some guy at the airport. He'd be like, "Yeah, I'm a pilot. I fly CRJs." And you could be like, "Yeah, I'm a virtual pilot and I fly 747s. I get paid as much as you do." That's not going to happen, guys, but I'm just saying that'd be kind of funny. All right, so CRAF is a huge part of that, and with that, and I'm not going to go to the other post, but there's a post about the current mission going on and so on. So, obviously the idea is to get people more involved, especially to get them involved with the CRAF flights. Now, one of the things about National Virtual that's very different from PVA is you can fly from anywhere at any time. You don't have to fly from your last location. So, in an attempt to kind of keep it realistic in my head, it's kind of silly, but, I just kind of envision that, okay, National Virtual needs me to fly. For example, I flew out of Alaska today, but the last place I flew into was Long Beach. So I just sort of imagined to myself that National, flew me on a jump seat, deadheading it up to Alaska, and then gave me an MD-11 to fly out, that sort of thing. So it just kind of, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. It is a virtual world, so I think it's really cool. You can fly from wherever you want. It's a lot of fun. So let's move on. So that's the CRAF program, company awards and all that stuff we're not going to talk about. Let's talk about the ranks real quick. There's only 4 ranks here: probationary pilot, first officer, captain, and senior captain. Now, I didn't transfer any hours in when I came over to National Virtual. So I think I'm a first officer now. I'll have to look when we get to our pilot center here. But once you hit 150 hours, you're a senior captain, and that's the way it works. And as far as pay and all of that stuff goes, it's virtual money. It's not real money in this case. So, but for those of you who, really want to get to that senior captain quick, well, 150 hours and you're there. So you're good to go on that. And then let's take a real quick look here. Partners, multi-crew experience. So basically we're looking at, if I'm not mistaken, we get some discounts if we use this. I've actually looked into this a few times and considered maybe getting it. If you know anything about it, hey, give me some word on it. They do fly with VATSIM. They are partnered up with VATSIM, and they do encourage you to fly online, but it is not a requirement. You're not required to fly online. All right. Let's see. Can I show anything in here? Some of this I'll be able to show, but not all of it. So all this is also accessible through the Pilot Center. So let's jump over to the Pilot Center. And you guys have seen this before. This is where our bids show up and so on. Okay, so it tells me my pilot ID, my rank. I am a first officer. I've got 6 flights in 17.5 hours. It'll be 7 flights once my last pilot report gets approved. 17.5 hours. I didn't transfer any hours. There's the total money I've made. That's your basic information. You can go in here to the profile options. You can edit your profile, your email address, your avatar, which is your little picture. You can change your password. You can take a look at your stats. So let's take a look at my stats. So here's my monthly flight stats. In February I flew 6 flights. I didn't really fly anything since then, so it goes 6 and then 1 because I flew 1 flight today because I haven't flown since February. I've flown 2 different aircraft, the 747 and the MD-11, and I probably won't fly many more than that. I have done a 757 flight in national livery, but it wasn't for national. It was just a flight I did with my friend Eric. We flew up to Jackson Hole and it was a good time. So basic stats right there, pretty straightforward. Back over to our Pilot Center. If you want to do a hub transfer, I forget off the top of my head what the rule is, but if you go down here, view our rules and regulations, we'll click on it. We'll come back to this page in a second. It tells you your membership requirements, the standard procedures, some information for pilots, information about and for the director of hub operations, some more information for all members, and everything you need to know about flying with National Virtual is right here. One that I always find myself looking for to make sure I have it right is 3.9 here. Pilots may fly using time acceleration of speeds up to 8x. So if you're doing a really long flight, which a lot of flights, especially in the 747 or MD-11 are, I think it was 3,300 miles for that MD-11 flight. Listen, I already mentioned at the beginning of the video, I don't have time to fly, 7 hours. I just don't have time to do it all the time. Okay, so you can use time acceleration. Now there's a key though. You may only, see if I can highlight the whole word, only use it when in cruise. So you must climb and descend and land at 1 time or normal simulation. Right, now here's the key to this. If you're doing a really long flight in a 747 or MD-11, you're going to have step climbs, right? Okay, on the ACARS, you need to go in there, and I'll show you where to do it when I do an ACARS video. ACARS is real simple, and many of you have used that Smart Cars before. You go in there and you change your cruise altitude, and then you change, so how do I explain this? So let's say you're cruising at 33,000 feet and you're ready to step climb to 35,000 feet. So what you do is you take it off of 8 times acceleration, put it back to the normal acceleration rate, start the climb, and then you go onto your ACARS and there's a little button you click and you change your cruise altitude to 35,000 feet. That's what we said, right? 33 and 35. So you would change it to 35,000 feet. And then when you get to 35,000 feet, ACARS will say you've reached cruise altitude of 35,000 feet. Once it says that, you can go back to 8 times acceleration. If you do a step climb in 8 times acceleration, you're violating this rule because you're not climbing at 1 times acceleration. So just keep that in mind. But otherwise, make sure you read through all this information here so that you know what the rules are and so that you're following them properly. And there was a specific reason I came in here. I was going to mention something, but I forgot what it was. But all the rules are there. Oh, hub transfer request. That's listed in there as well. There's a certain time you have to fly with the hub you initially sign up at. So you want to make sure that you pick the hub that you really would rather be at. Leave of absence request, you can do that from right here. I haven't had to do one yet. I believe you have to fly 1 flight every 60 days, but again, that is in the rules and regulations information right here. So there's the link for that, straightforward. National Cars download, that's the ACARS, and again, I'm not showing that in this video, but when I do, it's very simple to use. Aircraft downloads. So if we go into here, we can see we've got some downloads. This is a freeware package with auto installer 757 and so on. These are actual aircraft. Okay, these are not liveries. So this is a 747 complete freeware package. But If you fly, like me, a PMDG 747, then you want to go in here to the official Payware aircraft repaints. Click on that one. There's the Quality Wing 757, there's the PMDG 747, and there's the Just Flight DC-8. So those are the repaints for the Payware aircraft. And again, you find those by scrolling down here and clicking on View Official Payware Aircraft Repaints. And then again, National is a charter airline. Okay, so you can fly any aircraft, and they lease aircraft all the time. So you've got charter Payware aircraft repaints, and if you click on this one, you'll see you've got your PMDG 777, which I tried to do that paint for him, and I couldn't do it. These stripes are such a pain. So whoever did, I think David did this repaint, and he did a fantastic job. But I am going to do a custom special livery for a 777 that's going to be in here eventually. Here's the MD-11. I flew it in the World Cargo livery because that was who we leased it from. And then here's your Mad Dog, your MD-82, which I have one of those, and we're going to be flying one of those eventually too. And then you can see here coming soon, 737-800, Captain Sim 757, 767. I know he's working on the Q400 right now, and so on and so forth. So it says right here, if you have an aircraft you'd like to have a National Virtual Airlines paint for, please email our CEO, that's David, at this address, and he'll get it done for you. And he's clearly very good at this, and I'm quite impressed with what he does with these. I can do the paint all the way up until these stripes, and for some reason I can't get these stripes right to save my life. It's really rather pathetic on my part. So there's your charter aircraft, and keep in mind there will be more in there as we go along. Scrolling on down here, there are some airport downloads as well. So here's Orlando. This is one of our hubs. That's a complete package. You can get that there. That's for 2004. And then here's Orlando for FSX. And those are the only two that are in there right now. I'm not sure where they came from or what the deal is on that. Oh, excuse me. Had a little hiccup there. But there you go. There's some airport downloads there as well. Let's see what else. Manuals and documents. If you click on here, training manual. There it is. I don't know who wrote this. I am the training manager over at PVA. But I'm not the training manager over here, so I'm not sure who wrote this, but there's your training manual, good information in there. If I click on this, it's going to want me to download a PDF right now, and I don't want to do that, but definitely take a look at that training manual. Again, rules and regulations, events and group flights. Right now, National Flight 102 Memorial Flight, let's see, it's going on the 30th, okay, so I don't think David will mind if I show this, so I'm going to go ahead and show it. Okay, so this is a flight, it's a memorial flight for, let's see, starting on April 30th, flying from Camp Bastion, Afghanistan to Dubai with a fuel stop at Bagram, I think it's Bagram. I think the R goes after the G, but I could be wrong. We'll be holding a moment of silence before departing in honor of the crew who lost their lives on National Cargo Flight 102 on April 29th. So listen, here's the deal. If you've seen the video of the 747 that stalls on takeoff and crashes into a big fiery ball, that's what this is. That was National Flight 102. Okay, so as you can see right now, and I'm actually thinking about this right now. Let me take a look at this here. Let me click April 30th is on it's on a Saturday. I got to work that day, unfortunately, because I'd actually really like to do this. So, David, if you get a chance to see this, let me know if there's a possibility of me taking one of these slots on Sunday and flying it. But, well, I tell you what, folks, I look at this and I think, man, we got a bunch of pilots, 75 of them. There's a lot of open slots here. Really, I get it. You know, I have to work that day, so I might not be able to do the flight. But you know, this is really neat here. I think this is fantastic. You know, taking the opportunity to honor those guys. I have not done any research on what happened on that flight, but the rumor mill that I've heard is that the cargo shifted to the rear of the aircraft right after rotation. Some cargo broke loose and shifted to the rear of the aircraft. And any of you who know anything about actual real-world flying, you know that a center of gravity shifted all the way to the rear is the deadliest thing in an aircraft. The aircraft it simply can't fly. And you see what happened with that. And that would be my guess anyway, based on the video that I've seen of that. So anyway, if you haven't done so already, guys, hey, if you can fly this on April 30th, I think that'd be fantastic. Here's all the open slots. Hop on in here, and if you want more information, you know, by all means, shoot an email over to David, and I know he'll be more than happy to fill you in on that. Okay. Back over to the Pilot Center. Forums down here is where you click to get into your forums, and then your flight operations. You can view your PIREPs, a map of all your flights, timetable, and so on. So we'll go through a couple of these, but not all of them. So here's all of my pilot reports so far. All right, and this one's the one still waiting approval pending. But here's the flights we've done. So the flight, episode 3 is actually this flight right here, and I explain in that flight that in order to complete the mission, you have to fly back as well. And I did not record the return flight. This one was for fun, this one was for fun, and then this one was for fun. So, but I will be getting some more flights in here pretty soon, so be looking forward to that, guys. Map of all my flights. We've all seen this before. You can see that I actually do kind of try to fly to and from where I'm at, but you know, I hopped out here. This was kind of fun to fly out to Fiji. I've flown out there before, and that was a fun flight, so I went ahead and did that one as well. What else we got here? Timetable. Take a quick look at that. If the page wants to load, now my internet wants to be slow. Everything's going along just fine. Now my internet wants to be slow. So this is what an actual timetable looks like for a real world airline as well. And in fact, there goes my coughing. I got to cough in your face at least once every video. One of my subscribers, I can't think of his YouTube name off the top of my head, but anyway, he's a real world pilot for Great Lakes Airlines. He got in touch with me. Turns out he's going to be in Phoenix here in a few days. And I happen to work at Sky Harbor Airport, so I'm going to meet up with him. But he sent me what his schedule is going to be, and lo and behold, it looks almost exactly like this. So that's actually what they give their pilots too. I look at this thing and I go, what the? This thing's hard to understand, but hey, it is what it is, so there you go. And then some more information down here. Fleet database, you can file a pilot report from here, book a flight from here, and so on. So, booking a flight, let's go ahead and take care of that next. We can just click on the button right here. Okay, you can search by departure airport, which is what it defaults to, by arrival airport, by aircraft type, and by distance. Now, keep in mind that if you do a flight, let's say we go to by aircraft type, and we search Boeing 737, let's go with an 800 here. It should come up with 0. Oh, it didn't. They actually have some scheduled. Again, they're a charter airline, so sometimes if you go to search by aircraft, and it comes up 0, that's because there aren't any actual charters set up there. Now, you can set up your own flight through ACARS and fly it anyway. So if you wanted to fly from FAJS to FACT in a Boeing 737, and this charter flight wasn't here, you could set it up in ACARS. Right now, they've got, normally if you search an MD-11, nothing pops up. But if you search it right now, you've got a couple of flights in there. This one's a regular charter that's been going for a little while now. And then this is the CRAF flight, NCR CRAF 44. This is the one to South Korea. All right. So booking a flight is really pretty straightforward. I'm going to cough again. Sorry. Let me get a drink of something here before I keep coughing. All right. There we go. All right. So it's very straightforward. If you want to depart from a specific airport, so let's just say you want to depart from San Diego, Quezon. All right. If I go find flights, there are no flights going out of there. So because I'd done a search that had flights, it just defaulted back to those, right? And that's okay. So if I want to fly out of San Diego, I can set up a flight via my ACARS. All right. Come on. I think maybe that's a little buggy, huh? By aircraft type, you can search by distance. As you can see, it's pretty straightforward. You can do any one of these. Let me find, do they have a return flight on this one? They should, right? Nope, no return flight. Okay. Anyway, instead of sitting here and messing around with it for a while, here's the deal. If you're looking for a flight from a specific airport or from a specific aircraft or to a specific airport, or whatever, and you click on the search button and it doesn't pull those up, make sure you look at these, because when I hit, departure airport Phoenix, because I thought maybe there was a return flight for this one, it didn't pop up, right? Okay, so if that happens, then what you need to do is you need to go ahead and set it up in ACARS, and I can show you how to do that. But let's just say this is the flight that you wanted to do. Very simple. Click on Add to Bid. I'm not going to add this one, but I'll show you what happens when you do. Click Add to Bid, and then it's going to show up right here in your Pilot Center here. All right, and once you've done that, then when you log on to ACARS, all these flights are listed on my ACARS as well. I just click, when I go to ACARS, I click on flights, and all these flights are there. I pick the one I want to fly, and I click on fly, and off I go. Very, very simple. ACARS, when I show it to you, I'll show you the bare bones basics of it, and that's all you really need, and it's very simple. And I think that's about it, right? So that's how you book a flight. Very straightforward. You know, let me just do this. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna open up ACARS. ACARS is very simple. I'm just gonna combine it right here in this video. There's no need to make a separate one. So here's the pilot center, straightforward. That's me. Total hours, total flights, average landing rate, all right there. I can view my pilot reports from here. Okay, I have to search them. So I don't know if the one in the MD-11 would show up. Let's do the 747. Converted freighter. And search. These aren't mine. Huh. Okay. Not sure why it's doing that. Oh, maybe that's everybody's PIREPs. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. This particular ACARS system is used by a lot of virtual airlines. Okay, so many of you are probably already familiar with it. I'm not intimately familiar with it like I am with PV ACARS, which is a completely different program, but the basics are very simple. So if I go to flights, whatever flights I've already bid on, those are already right here in the list. Highlight the flight, click fly. Okay, fill in the information you have to here. When you're ready to go, click on start, and you're in business. Very simple. One more time. Click on the flight you want to fly. Click on fly. I'll be flying offline. If you're going to be flying online, then you would pick, am I flying with VATSIM, IVAO, Pilot Edge, so on. Pick the one you're flying online with. This is your load here. If you click generate load, it'll change. Or in my case, for whatever reason, it wouldn't pop up it wouldn't pop up 408 passengers for the MD-11. So I just double click, type in 408. We're good to go. Type in your cruising altitude here, and then once you're all set up and ready to go, you click on start. I'm not going to do that because I have an aircraft already in the air, and that might mess with things. All right, go back over here to flights. Just hit the back button. Now, let's say I want to create a flight. Let's say I want to fly from San Diego to Phoenix. Okay, and that flight doesn't exist in our schedule. I go to create. I can pick my own flight ID. It should be NCR something. So type NCR 001, whatever. I'm not going to type it in there, but whether I want it to be a passenger or cargo flight, put in my cruise altitude, my departure airport, my arrival airport, and choose my aircraft. So if I want to fly it in my PMDG 737-800, then I click on that one, and there we go. Okay, departure and arrival times. Now this is what I expect them to be, right? So you have to come up with the information. Departure and arrival times, total duration of the flight, and then I put my route in here, and then click on create. Okay, invalid entry obviously because I haven't entered the information. All right, very simple. Once you create that flight, create it, fly it, and then file the PIREP. As simple as that. Couldn't be any easier. Okay, same thing with a new flight. You can create a new flight here as well, and it's really, to me, it's the same thing. I don't really see the difference between creating a flight and putting new flight in here. However, actually, no, there is a difference. I'm sorry. Let's go KSFB. Okay, and I'm going to go search. These are all, okay, so let me go back because I'm an idiot. So create a flight lets me create any flight I want, right? So I can create a charter flight right here. New lets me search for a flight that is in national system. So for example, the flight I just flew was out of PAED. Okay, the only flights coming out of there should be the one with the MD-11. There it is, the CRAF 44. So if I just type in PAED as my departure, then I'm rocking and rolling. Once I hit search, that's the flight I want for. So I click on that and then bid on it right here. So you don't even have to go to the website to bid on it. Okay, I like to go to the website. I like to show you guys that. And really, if you're flying with us and you're not taking an opportunity, at least look at the forums, you know, give your information in there, introduce yourself. Well, I think you should be. I say shame on you because at least tell us hi. I understand some people don't like to interact on the forums. I get it, but at least tell us hi and let us know who you are because we'd like to know who's on board. But anyway, you click on bid right here, and it'll automatically populate that right into this list right here. And then again, you'd click on the flight, click on fly, and off you go. Okay. Once you're flying, ACARS will pop up. Very straightforward. You don't really have to do anything with it unless you want to change your altitude. So I can't show you that right now. But basically it'll show your altitude right up here, and there's a little cog wheel next to it. If you click on that, it'll let you change the altitude. It'll put a little check mark there. Click on the check mark, and now that's your new cruise altitude. So once you reach that, it'll tell you the new cruise altitude. Map, this is not everybody flying for national. This is everybody using smart cars right now. Alright, so a lot of these guys are flying for different airlines. Alright, that's a United Airlines flight. I don't know if he's flying for United Virtual or not. It doesn't say which airline they're flying with, but what I mean is which virtual airline. So this guy's flying a 777-200 freighter, but it doesn't say which virtual airline he's with. Maybe FVN is his virtual airline, I don't know. But this is everybody using smart cars right now. All right, chat window, you can chat with any of those guys. There were a couple of settings in here, a couple notification settings. I didn't like play radio at launch. Play pause radio with peripherals. Where was it? It was under sounds. Every time a message came up, I would get a sound, and then what was it? Something was making the window pop up every time. Anyway, so mess with the settings a little bit. Here we go. Flash the taskbar icon when new messages arrive. So all these different guys would be chatting on here, and this little thing right here would pop up, and it wouldn't go away until I clicked on this, and it was driving me nuts. I finally figured out what it was. So there you go. And then there's a premium version of it as well. I have no need to get the premium version, but if you're interested in it, there are definitely some benefits to having the premium version of smart cars. So this is the ACARS system that National uses. Very simple, very easy to use. And there you have it. And I think that pretty much wraps it up. I think that covers everything that you guys need to know about navigating the website and so on. Please take the opportunity to go in the forums, at least say hi, introduce yourself, let us know who you are. But keep in mind that if we can get those forums really active, you guys, we can get some folks in there. I know, for example, my friend Eric, he flies for National Virtual as well, and that guy is wicked smart. And if you got a question about P3D or FSX, like, he's the one who helped me finally get my reinstall fixed on my FSX. The guy knows his stuff. So if we can get guys interacting in there, it's a great place to go for information and just to see what's going on. There's a screenshot section and all kinds of stuff. It's just a good time. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this, guys. I probably talked longer than I meant to, but there's the down and dirty on the National Virtual Airlines website and the basics of how to use ACARS. And, follow those steps, and that'll get you whatever you need. So without further ado, I'm going to hop on over and make sure that I can land my 747 in preparation for making the cinematic so I can get that other video out. So, as always, until next time, keep the blue side up unless otherwise instructed by ATC. That sounded kind of dumb, but anyway.